69 degrees and an 80% chance of thunderstorms today. And we honor the late Judge Barry Vaughn, as he will be laid to rest later on today with the funeral service at 2 o'clock at First Baptist Church. And Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl joins us this morning. And Mayor, it's kind of a somber day today, but boy, we honor a pillar of our community, Judge Barry Vaughn. Good morning.
Good morning. It's going to be a heavy day laden on our hearts today. Such a wonderful man, a pillar of the community. Worked with him for years, you know, while I was in office. He swore me in office 4 different times. And I just wondering, I sat with him on the IDB board and other things and I never will forget his speech when we had Brotherhood at First Baptist.
How'd you get to know him?
Just working. Well, how can you help but know somebody that wonderful, you know? Just getting involved with city politics and the courts. I visited the courts and all. And I used to kid him everything else. I said, "Good morning, your judgeship." You know, he'd get a big smile off of him. But he's going to be well missed. It's going to be a hard day to go through. But we thank God we had the opportunity to know him and been such a mentor to so many of us.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of people, and they've all got different stories of how Judge Vaughn impacted their life.
Well, they did. He was so honest and everything with everybody. You know, very few people you can walk up and be somewhere and say, "That's a good Christian man." You know it. Bobby Littleton was like that to me when I met him years ago in the mill. He came from the back end of the mill to help us with an issue on the front end where I was supervising. And the first time I met him, I knew he was a Christian. When I knew Barry Vaughn was the same way. He just knew it, you know. They just radiate with it.
And not only was he an attorney, but he was a city judge here for a long time.
He was a city judge for 45 years. He was the longest sitting judge in the municipality in the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
What
are some things that struck you about Judge Vaughn?
The way he handled things, the way he approached people, the way he talked to people. He respected them. He didn't look at class or anything else, you know. He was just a man that just stood out, that you knew that when you spoke to him, you got a fair deal. He was going to be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know his wife Jane. And
oh yes, beautiful. You know, they came up, they went to school together here at Sylacauga and married, and of course he went off to another state to got his law degree and came back to Sylacauga, thank God. And him and his raised a beautiful family, and it's just sort of hard to believe, you know, that we're losing such a wonderful man. But I guess the good Lord needed his soul worse than we needed him, you know, apparently.
He'd been sick a while, but when you first heard the news of Judge Vaughn's death?
Well, like he came to the Brotherhood at First Baptist and went up there for dinner, and he was a speaker. And he told us all, when he came to COVID, that's when they found the issue. And he said he had the determination to fight this all the way through. And he fought it. He fought a good fight.
Now, COVID, you know, it almost took him out itself.
It did. They had him in intensive care. And I guess you'll find some pictures of him coming out there waving that hand. He made it, you know. But he's going to be such an inspiration, you know. Wonderful people like that. Losing Lucille Anderson was a big shock, you know. And but losing him as well, you know, he's going to be hard to replace.
Yeah.
But he is. But he has made arrangements before he left, and he made a recommendation for somebody to fill in temporarily for him. I made that appointment, and if it ever comes to it, the council will have to make a permanent appointment. I just make the temporary appointment, but Taylor Farr will be sitting in for him, a wonderful individual. And it's hard on Taylor too, you know. It's hard on all of us, you know.
Yeah, some more than others.
It is, you know, everybody who knew him, you know, he was just outstanding. His whole family was outstanding. His boys, his wife, they were always involved, and they got the chair. Thank God. I enjoyed that, you know, when they got the chair for the high school. That was.
Yeah, I went over to his house at his death for the funeral home, and one of the first things I spotted was that chair.
It was, and he well deserved it. He sure did. He and his family really deserved that chair.
Yeah.
All those who have received it have really deserved it. It's been great.
Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl joins us this morning as we honor the life and legacy of Judge Barry Vaughn, and the funeral service today, visitation from noon until 2, and he was a graduate of He attended Samford University and Cumberland School of Law. And so he was born in 1950 and married Jane in 1974. And he was appointed city judge, but to be appointed and stay in that same position for that long a time.
45 years. And of course, what was he married? 47 years?
Yeah.
So that was quite a career for him, and he's been such an asset to our city. He was over our court's office. He's over all our magistrates. I have nothing to do with that. You know, I work with the girls, you know, trying to get their benefits and equipment, all that kind of stuff like that, and salaries. But I wanted Amber Johns, the court clerk, to be with me this morning, but I'm afraid that it was just too emotional for her at this time to speak about it. But she did give me this statement I would like to read on behalf of the city court's office. It's a statement from the court office. Judge Vaughn was one of the longest sitting municipal court judges in the state of Alabama, serving 45 years with the Sylacauga Municipal Court. He worked diligently with our municipal court office staff and became a friend and a mentor to many of us. He was very dedicated to the service with the city and always worked to be fair and consistent in the courtroom. His leadership and compassion will be missed greatly and will be very hard to replace. Our court office staff offers our condolences, love, and prayers to Miss Jane and their family. Signed, Amber Johns, court clerk, Christy King, magistrate, Melanie Allen, magistrate, Samantha Armstrong, magistrate, and Ginger McDougal, magistrate. Like I said, I was hoping she could join me, but like I said, it's just too much of emotional strain on them.
But these ladies work day in and day out.
16 years,
Yeah.
this lady, Amber, worked with Judge Vaughn in the court's office.
Yeah.
And 16 years under that kind of stress and pressure and everything else, you know, they were real close.
How can our city honor the legacy of Judge Vaughn?
I don't know.
It's kind of hard to put your arms around it, isn't it?
It is. He's been such a wonderful mentor to so many people. You know, the best thing to do, we'll always remember him. He'll always be in our thoughts and the prayers, and his family as well.
Oftentimes we see individuals, whether they be ladies or gentlemen in position, they are said to be Christians. They're members of church. But Judge Vaughn, he was much more than that, wasn't he?
He was. He was active in his church, deeply active in his church. And in lieu of the flowers, he wanted the donation made to First Baptist to the programs that he supported. And he supported some very, very, very important programs for the betterment of mankind.
Now, I'm not familiar with Dan Moran Ministries. Are you?
No, I'm not. I'm afraid I'm not.
I know he was really involved with the organization.
But that was something dear to his heart. And, you know, and you can believe that your money be well spent if you care to make a donation to those ministries.
Yeah.
Because that reaches out to so many people.
Sure. And Mayor, it's good to know that you're leaving no stone unturned. You got a beautiful family, you got a beautiful church, you got a beautiful city, and a great relationship with the Lord. So, hey, it's a win-win.
Yeah, it is. I'd like to be be there too. I'd like to know where he's at right now, you know, because you know the good Lord's going to take care of that beautiful soul.
So there's going to be a huge crowd, of course, at the service
I suspect there
today.
will be. Yeah. They're going to have visitation from 12 to 2, and of course the interment will take place after 2 o'clock. And I'm sure there was, you know, you've been to funerals at First Baptist, some of the fine people we lost in our city, you know. There was going to be a great turnout for Judge Vaughn, because attorneys and everything's going to be coming in from all over the country. Yeah, he had touches with me.
Some people that have been quoted, Talladega County Bar Commissioner Sally Bowers said she knew Vaughn for more than 40 years and said, words can't contain the person he was. That's a pretty good assessment.
It is. And no words can describe what all he's done, because it came from here. It came from his heart. That's where it came from.
Also, former Sylacauga School Superintendent Joe Morton. He had known Barry since moving to Sylacauga in 1978. He said if you put Barry in a crowd of people, a group of people, chances are he wouldn't be the loudest or the most talkative, but he'd probably be the smartest, and people knew that.
Most noticeable. He would. And that Joe Morton, God bless him, He knew him very, very well. You know,
Yeah.
Joe in himself, you know, has done so much for our
Yeah.
city and our community and our school systems.
Yeah. Now, Barry was a longtime attorney here in Sylacauga, law offices on Norton Avenue.
Well, yes, he's been there. You know, yeah, he's been there a long, long time. And also, he served on the IDB board. I attended many meetings for the past 10, 12 years, and he's always been there. And there's always issues, you know, sometimes comes up, you know, with IDB and dealing with the industry and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Barry was such a great asset to answer questions and look into things for the IDB board.
Finally, this morning, how will you personally remember Judge Barry Vaughn?
I see myself walking into his courtroom right now just to visit and just look at him and grin. And he was mostly concentrated on, he looked up every once in a while. But the people that he's helped over the years, I'll remember him because I've listened to some of the cases. They deal with some unusual people, you know, especially on the fourth Tuesday of every month. They meet on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. The fourth Tuesday of every month, when they come in there and plead their cases and everything, they're real interested. But the wonderful way he handles them, it was unbelievable. Knowing, you know, that what they were saying wasn't always true, though, but he was helping them work through that.
It's said sometimes that the people in position are like a judge or a mayor are in a no-win situation, but not in his case.
He's not in his case at all. He knew just exactly how to work through it.
Yeah. Mayor, thanks for coming by this morning.
Well, Jimmy Dale, it's my pleasure, and our deepest sympathy to the family and Jane. And he's got a wonderful family, and I know he's going to be well missed. And we're going to do everything we can to get through this day.
Yeah. We can talk about a lot of things that are going on in our city, but that's another day, another time.
It is another day, another time. But God rest his soul, which I know God has his soul, and he's in heaven now. He has no more pain, no more suffering.
We honor Judge Barry Vaughn on Daybreak Live. Sylacauga Mayor Jim Heigl, our guest this morning. More coming up after this.